Well, I lost internet. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. Um, so we'll just leave it at that. Gotta reload my chat notifications. And I just realized that I'm not getting the audio to my headset either. So let me make sure. There we go. There we go. Yeah, so lost internet. Don't know what happened. Not sure. But we're back. Yeah, I was talking for who knows how long. And then I looked over and I was like, wait a minute. Something's broken because I was checking the Twitch IRC stuff that I'm using. And VS Code. No, not Visual Studio. No, please, no, not that one. Don't open Visual Studio. No, it's so slow. No. There we go. All right, so let's get our restream chat. Where is it? Buddy. Reset window. Where'd you go? Let's quick click and reopen it. Doesn't seem to like opening. If you open it when the internet's not up, it goes ham. It goes ham. And now I have to go babysit YouTube really quick. Sorry about that, guys. It happens, though. So I'm not sure if it was my router or what. I just restarted everything, including the computer. And then I was like, well, I might as well restart the router whilst I'm restarting the computer. Yeah, so let me get the debug going again here. Oh, and that's great. Helps if I have an obstacle. So we want to do that offset scenario that we've been talking about. And are we checking? I mean, it looks right. It looks right. So I mean, it feels like that should be right. So let's print out the player tile. So let's move our debug down, and we'll just print out the. So we've got the offset math. So we can trust the cell stuff is right. So let's get rid of that, and we'll replace it with this player tile. So world to map tile. So let's just go like that. See if the tiles are shifting. Okay. All right, I get you. All right, there we go. 4-1, 4-2, 4-4. Huh? So 4-1, 4-2, 4-4. Why is it going so drastically in the other direction? Center point. So that's why it's not working, but why is it off? It's 1 over. So it's too far over as well. So we're adding. So what happens with our collisions right now using this? If I save this and I try it. We're still golden on that. 4-1, 4-2, 4-4. Why is it 4-4 though? Because it should be 4-3. So what? Let's see. I can't see the coordinates of the mouse on our space. I mean, all we're doing oh, shoot. I know why. Oh, man. This isn't as easy as a loop. So the cell size math I need to move. Because I'm doing this half step in both directions. And I only want to be doing that in the travel direction of the player and then go up or down by like a step and a half, let's call it. But for the other ones, I need to make sure I'm only going by it's doing it on the X and the Y axes, which is not right. Yeah, lost internet. Not sure not sure what happened there. Sorry about that. Also getting some weirdness with OBS, but I don't care. The chat, that's just all wrong. The chat stuff is all wrong. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, stream is back. Lost internet. Didn't appear to be on a. It was on a, like I'm on the computer scale for some reason. So I had to reboot. So I figured out what's going on because I'm doing this this scaling issue. See, I have a feeling that this is going to be something that I'm going to be checking. Yeah, so this math has to happen up here. So let's put this, whatever this is. It's going to be in both scenarios. It's going to be like in the center case, it'll work fine. Center shift, we'll call it. See, I'm not liking where the code is heading. I'm not liking this. Let's call it shift. Okay. And if last direction equals up or down. So in these cases, so we have to construct a vector 2. And we need to have scenarios for the x and the y values. So in the case of the x value, so it'll be cell size, and then the y value will be all this crazy nonsense. And then we'll simply multiply the shift into our other coordinates here. And then we'll do the opposite on this one. Shift will become left to right. So the shift will happen like this. And then we'll do the same thing where we do times the shift. This will just be shift. And then this will be shift. Multiply by the shift. Okay, so let me do print debug. And let's just do a breakpoint right here. I just want to make sure that I've got, what is it mad about? Weird. Oh, it's because we're running. Okay. Yeah, I lost internet. I lost internet. So yeah, not sure. What am I doing wrong with the... Oops. What is it mad about? Yeah, it's not going to be declared in that scope because... Oh. Okay, so I see the problem. Cell size dot y, cell size dot x, and then we'll call this direction shift dot x, and then this one's direction shift dot y. Okay. Now let's give some room for the code to breathe here, and let's run the debug. Okay, so what do we look like? So we're 48. Okay, so we're going right. So last direction equals right, and we are checking -32 up, 32. It's backwards. Hipsy doodle. So we want to do cell size X, direction shift Y, cell size Y. So let's run this. See what we got now. Okay, so negative 48. Now hang on now. So this should be God, I'm really not liking this code. I know I'm going to come back to this and change it. So this is just confusing. Oh, because it's a 0. So it's getting zeroed out. All right, just to confirm, we're going right, so we should break on this one. Yes. Okay, so I get what's happening now. So we're when we're doing the multiplication, it zeroes it out. This is all just nasty. I'm not liking this. This is disgusting code. Blech. Sorry, guys. I think I'm realizing what's going on. I just want to make sure that I'm right. Yeah, no, this is all wonky. It's really just a math problem. So our shift is right. So 48. So we're going to call that, I'm calling it direction shift. We want to move up 1 times the, so in this case, like if I, so we're shifted right on our right axes. So everything's all just wonky because I'm trying to do multiplication for to represent up and down. And so I think I'm going to have to do it by hand. In so much as so it'll be cell. So like vector 2 cell size dot x that's positive shift dot y, and oh, negative, it's actually negative. Ugh, Matt, this is gross. I want it to look good. I want it to be able to, like, that I can look at it and because I know what I need to do mathematically, but to represent that in code in a clean way is what I'm trying to figure out here. Essentially what I need to have happen is I need to go and check that 1.5 step over for the player direction, and then 1 up from that, 1 down from that. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. 1 cell. Okay, so maybe that's it. Maybe that's all that there is to it. So yeah. No, and I'll probably split a lot of this out into a function as well, Cobalt. I think I'm getting it, though. I think I'm getting it because I need to, I don't have my cool, nerdy programming glasses on. That's why I'm messing up today. Okay, so, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go... up, down. Okay. In the simplest terms, that's our situation. Trying to do, okay. Let's start over. Let me go back. what I had before I started doing all this wacky doodle stuff. So the basic steps were pretty sound. I was attempting okay. Well, I don't know that I would have any different of a problem, because even if I wrote down what it was I was trying to do, I would still need to write the code at some point. I know exactly what I'm trying to do. Okay, so player last direction was the first step to fixing that issue. So that's 0. Okay, so check cells. So we're checking one above and one to the right. Ah. So the breakpoint's still right, but it's okay. Okay, I think I got it. Just had to think about it for a second. So let's see what we got. Okay, so yeah, that's going to be ridiculous right now because of let's just print check cells here and do it again. Rerun it. Okay, I think I got it. Definitely don't like the code. Is that seriously because I have it on a new line that it's not printing? Oh, there it is. Okay. So 1, negative 32, 1, 0, 1, negative, positive 32. Okay, so that's what we want. That's what we want. There's got to be a better way to represent this in math. And instead of 1, what we're going to do is we're going to change that to our shift that I was talking about. So that's where we take this math and we call it shift like that, and that's our check coordinate. And since we know and it's not going to work right now because of the changes that I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to start to clean this up. I know how to do that too now. Or at least I'm getting an idea of it. And we're going to do that's the shift. Only those should be okay. So it is addition. So, okay, so I think I got it. So 40, 32, negative 32, up, down, and nothing for where we're at. So if I change this here, check cells, now we can go just cell. And now, hopefully, we still get our breakpoint. Okay. We do, although, interestingly, let's see what we get when we do. Player check tile, cell. Okay. So, boom. So we are hitting it. And now let's try and do it on the angle here. And please work. Boom. Okay, so we're getting it. Now, I don't know why the debug is not, the breakpoint isn't firing right. So I got to reopen VS Code. Usually something gets disconnected there. And okay, so that code is nasty. That's some nasty code. I don't like that. The logic is sound, but the code is dirty. Ugh. I don't know. I just get I get the idea. That's the kind of code that just likes to. Ugh. There we go. There's our breakpoint working again. Okay, so. So now we're hitting what we want to be hitting. Here's another scenario. I want to make sure it happens correctly. Let me save this layout of the level. And okay, so that's working. All right, so let's try something like that. And try and go down. Up. That's another scenario I was worried about. When it's a neighbor. Oops. Yeah, it's how I'm setting the last direction of the player. And the fact that this is happening on the process and not on the physics step. So that was something I thought about as well when I was thinking about how I'm doing this. So let's just see, just double checking some scenarios. Okay. Yeah. So because when we hit the wall, our last direction was right. So if I hold down as we're going to hit the wall, we won't have that bug. Because our last, well, no, we'll still get it because we can't. Okay. And this is because I'm not checking. I'm checking ahead. I'm checking ahead and it doesn't. So like if the player coordinates. So here's the other thing. This is happening every step. Really only want it to happen when the player's moving. Frankly, I don't even know how it's firing anyways. Let's see. So if I go down here and I go this way, yep. I don't know how we're getting the collision in the first place. Let's double check the player code. The physics step always happens before the... So that's what I was talking about, where I think I need to change where this is happening. I wasn't sure. I think a lot of people, I think you might have not been here at the beginning of the stream when I was explaining everything, but I do think that this stuff might need to be happening in a different way somewhere else. So like, for instance, if I fire this code, not on this process delta, but if I have, for every maze object, I have this move and collide from transform fire. And so if I go to the definition of this and I say, every time I know that we're going to successfully move the player in another direction, and this is where I need to do some research on collisions with regards to can I check am I not spelling this right? I am not. Excuse me, that was gross. I need a mute switch. Ooh. Well, that's so I can get the collisions. So if I use the physics, I can get collisions on other maze objects, like enemies that are moving around on the field. If they have if I drop all that, which I could do, then I'd have to do something like what I'm doing now for everything. But what I'm wondering is, like how I was talking about setting up a different bounding box for a collidable element for the player. Raycasting might be another way to do this. Because essentially, yeah, the problem with the tile sets, though, is that the only collidable element I would be able to set for a tile cell like this would be the actual center cell. That's why I'm kind of doing what I'm doing. But I'm thinking raycasting is probably what I should be doing. So if I cast 3 rays from the different coordinates, So we're getting the space. Space state. So let's see how we do a raycast. So we could do let me just do a test raycast here, just for fun. So we'll I'm going to copy this sample code here, because maybe if I can get a hit with a raycast, yeah. So let me set up the tile set. For our obstacles, and what we shall do is set up. Wait a second. Now hold on now. Okay, so there's a collidable. So hang on then. I may be able to have the collision boundary be larger than the tile itself. So if that's the case, let's pass through this. I'll get rid of the breakpoint. I'm not going to do that. So I may be able to handle the collision on the player level, which is where I was wanting it to happen anyways. There's our colliding object. Let's just print it out. We'll print debug. And let's just see what we get. We'll call it name. And please get a collision. So let's just see. Man. Whoops. Whoopsie doodle. Gotta save my changes. Oh my goodness, I could do it this whole time. So all we have to do then is we've got to be able to set up the tile set to be larger than the... So we need to make the bounding area for the collision larger than what we're seeing these tiles as. So if I go back to, if we edit the sprite, okay, this is going to get way easier. You see what I'm doing? Hopefully it makes sense. So let's load up obstacles. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the area around it, like the padding that I was trying to do this whole time. So I'm going to be able to drop all of this junky... all this code can go. So I've lost all this. It's all gone. I don't need any of this. It happens on the physics step still. We're getting it on the collision, on the player collision. Boom. On our physics step. Then what we could do is we can go, oh, okay, you're colliding with this tile set. I'm going to send a signal out saying, hey, tile set, I just collided with one of your tiles. What do you want to do? Maybe. But see, this is the thing about collisions that I don't know that... Well, yeah, it's just that I kept thinking of the problem in terms of the way that the what I'm allowed to do in the engine, or what I thought I was allowed to do in the engine. I mean, this is what happens when you're... I'm kind of going off the beaten path with the idea of what I'm doing. I'm doing some weird stuff when it comes to like for instance, I mean, there's not necessarily a YouTube or a Google search for, well, kinda, but like, because I'm not on a square grid, you know, I got these like the half stepping thing, right? Because we want to have, no matter what, the minute you want to have the player object be twice the size of the maze, or any fraction larger than the quote-unquote maze walls, you develop a fractional problem. And that's what I was trying to figure out. How do I approach this? And so, yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize. So let me do this. Canvas size, right? So we're going to go from the center, and we're just going to add the padding that we want on each side, which in this case would be half of 64. So, but on each side, would it be 16 on each side? Or would it be 32, 16 on each side? So 32 plus 64. Yeah, so 32 plus 64. So that would get us 96. Yeah. And then on the height, we do the exact same thing. We add 32 to 256. 288. And there's our visual padding. Now, here's where we might run into some problems, because I may need to do some spacing in between each of these tiles. But let's just export this and overwrite our existing obstacles. Yeah, it's funny, the delay. We're both on the exact same it's funny, we're on the exact same thinking. File exists, overwrite. You cannot export with the same name. What? I have been able to do this forever. Forever. What are you talking about? I've been able to... Forever. Okay, so I just had to force it. I had to get that. Okay, so let's go. I think you're right. I think we're both right that I'm gonna need to do the spacing. Yeah, I would say it's a combination of that. Like, it's like growing pains with the can I do an offset? I can do an offset. So can I do 32? No, it would be 16 by 16. Oh, no. Negative 16. Not 10. Not 10. What? Bro. Okay. Let's start over. Step is 64. Offset. What does 16 get me? What is happening here? Why is it? It's acting like it's not saving it. off step. There we go. And then 16. There we go. There we go. There we go. We got it. So let's delete all this. And let's, can I snap options? Okay, why is the background right? Let's, region. Here we go. Reselect the regions. There we go. Now let's go back to these other regions and we'll delete them. Okay. There we go. So new single tile. Boop. There's one. Boop. There's the other. Boop. There's the other. Boop. There's the other. So, and we'll set the collisions back up. And the collisions need to be wider than the... Oh, that's why we need the spacing. Not if we do step. So if we do on the... Yeah, okay. So we do need to have that spacing that you were talking about. So we need to add another 32 here, 32 here, and a 32 here. So 32 times 3 is 96 plus. So let's keep that 96 in our head for a second, and we're going to go sprite canvas size 96, 288 plus 96. And these are just like quick 384. And this will be, we'll go from top to bottom. And then we're just going to use, so this is nice because this solves it in a, I like it this way. Like, this is a way I would want this to be solved. Because the other thing this allows us to do, Cobalt, is we can set the collision specific to the tile type. So we could say, oh, this particular tile, I want it to, I want this particular tile to collide at this element, or have the collision the bounds of the collision box be this or whatever. So yeah, we are liking that. Now let's go back over there and we'll get it all set up in Godot. And what are we doing on stream time? One hour. So I'm basically done for today, unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so our stepping, our separation, this is, I think, what we want to do. We've got the offset right. Now we need to add separation 16. No. Yeah, because we want the collision step. So if we do 32, hang on a second. Maybe I don't need to do what I was doing. Yeah, because I can do a collision. Hang on. Can I draw a collision outside of the bounds of the... No, I can't. Okay, so... region. So the region of the tile... So I do need... and then the stepping needs to be 16. Because we need to be able to... Yeah. Okay, here we go. We're starting to get it. So that would be one tile. This would be another tile. All right, so... Okay. But do we need... I don't think we need the offset anymore. No. because we're not doing that weird thing. We have even spacing between everything. Okay, so new single tile. And then this will be another new single tile. And then this will be another new single tile. And then this will be another new single tile. And then we'll do collisions for everybody. First we'll delete this. I accidentally created another collision. Here we go. There's our collision. We've already got one. We don't have one in here. There's our collision in here. Oh, but that actually needs to be out of here. Right? So let's just play around with what we've done. And I think this might be too small. I'm not 100%. Okay, so everything's still okay here. Now let's see if we get our collision. So, let me save the stage. What happened? Saving. Boom! Okay. So, now we handle the collision. Okay. All right. This is making way more sense. So, there's still going to be a scenario where I'm not going to be able to do this with physics collisions. There's going to be a scenario where when we want it to be like a pad that you have to be on top of, that's why I have a function called a maze object. I have this step called cell center that returns true or false if you're on the center of the cell. And I'm going to change this to basically set a numerator value for whether or not you are or are not on the cell, on the center of a cell. And if you are, then we can do a check, a manual like, hey, we're on the center of the cell, obstacles, just, if there's an object that you need to respond to with that, then we can do that. Whoa, dude. Okay. Yeah, because, I'm not going to make any excuses for what happened yesterday and how much time I spent on, like, I did the set cell yesterday and I started to go down the rabbit hole today and the end of the last stream yesterday for this situation that I was running into. So, yeah, but it's just like, how was I going to know that it was going to look like this, like, because I'm just not, like, it is kind of an editor growing pain thing. But I knew, I was like, okay, well, I've got to be able to handle this. But here's the other deal. So I'm going to have to modify this code because I've got move and collide on transform and it's doing, I've got to do some extra stuff here because right now I'm doing move and collide and it's doing a test move. And so here's the problem. Fuck. I don't know if this is going to work, dude. So I need a way to have, if I can do collision checking this way, this is what I've been saying is like, I need to have a way to have a collision occur, but not have it stop the movement of the body. Does that make sense? Because I need there to be collidable elements that just don't change the movement. Is that what they call it in Unity? Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be something to do with the One of the most powerful but frequently misunderstood collision features is the collision layer system. The system allows you to build up complex interactions between a variety of objects. The key concepts are layers and masks. Yeah, let me check. So like if I have obstacles here, collision. So yeah, and so I think, I mean, it's totally possible to do it in Godot. I know it has to do with masks and layers, and I'm not sure, because you'll see here I have there's the collision mask and layer, and so I'm gonna have to read through the docs a bit. Area nodes provide detection and influence. They can detect when objects overlap and emit signals when bodies enter or exit. Areas can also be used to override physics properties, such as gravity or dampening a defined area. There are three main uses for an area: 2D, overriding physics parameters such as gravity, detecting when other bodies enter and exit a region or what bodies are currently in a region, detecting where the areas overlap. By default, areas also receive mouse and touchscreen input. Okay, so that's what we need. So I think what we need to do then is put obstacles inside a child, make it a child of area 2D. 2D area for 2D collections and influences. So if I go like this, it's got an exclamation point right now because it doesn't see, there's no collision shapes. But if I put obstacles underneath it as a child, is that going to fix it? No. Let me see if I go into area 2D collision. So that's not going to do it. But that's what we want. We just want to know that it happened. So is there a way in the tile set do I do it on the collision? That's the shape. Selected collision one way. Okay, let's open up. Dude, I appreciate having you here to talk this stuff out. Let's see. Tile map. Do you have a physics layer? In settings in Unity, they make it so you can... Yep. You could have a collider on a water plane, right? But a raycast would still hit it. This could fix your issue. Right. So if I set a raycast out on the player and I make it so that the obstacle layer that it's not on the same layer as the player, so the player just passes over it. But when I shoot out a raycast, it hits it. You know, in that case, we may be able to to get that to work. Right. Um, so I think that may be possible. So I might end up changing how I'm doing some of the physics stuff already then. Because if I'm just casting array, basically I would just cast array in all cardinal directions. Whatever direction the player's moving, you know, just shoot rays out in north, south, east, west, and see if anything's collided with those. I mean the other, because if I do that, then the player itself. Right. Well, who knew I would be going into collisions. So this is going to be nice and flexible, though. Okay, well, I think I got to call it today. But yeah, so that's I'm going to look into this a bit more. I don't want to be reading documentation on stream. I really appreciate having you in the chat, Cobalt, because dang. I was going down a rabbit hole. It's just such a weird, like, this whole thing is kind of just like a weird problem because, and the thing that's just throwing me off, I've said it before, is that, you know, you're looking at it, it's like, oh, it's a grid. And it's like, well, yes, but there's some inherent problems with that. I'm kind of a captive audience. Yeah. Now, let me just run. I just want to run it one more time just to make sure. Okay. So that's happening on collisions. That's great. You know, the other thing about doing the raycast method and having it be on a different layer so that it passes over it is I can treat player collisions as immediate, like, you know, if I'm using physics steps to move the player and the enemies have a collidable, they're on the same layer as the player, then I can treat those collisions as a whole differently than the raycast ones. Where I can go, okay, well, I know that when I cast a ray, I'm going to hit the enemies as well. Because a ray is going to be further out than the collision layer for the player, depending on the type of enemy, a whole bunch of factors. Gosh, I want to keep going so bad, but I should stop. What time is it? 5:10. Yeah, I should stop. So let's commit. Yeah, in Godot you have to. It gives back an array of what it's hit, and then you have to handle it from there. But there's plenty of ways of delineating and distincting, making distinctions between those elements. So, yeah, we don't need this. We can leave the player code alone. Flush that out. So I'm feeling good about this because it's much. This was what I was wanting to do. Yeah. So if there's like 5 things and they're all sort of on top of each other, It'll be like, well, well, actually, because array is a line, it's 2 points in space. So it goes, okay, I went this way, and on the way there, I hit this, this, and this. And so then you can go through that list and be like, okay, well, this was the first one that you hit, and, whatever. So... So like if you're firing, if you're firing a gun and you want instant, like not to show bullet travel kind of thing. Yeah, you can. Which means that, like in theory, if it just depends on how you want to do it, but like I might not need to do this where we have the bounding box be larger than the area, especially if I end up having to do it with a raycast. Because in that case, then we don't need the padding at all. We just simply draw the bounds, unless we want the object bounds to be larger for some reason. But if it ends up being that the raycast works, then obviously this padding stuff doesn't need to happen at all, and we simply make the collision the size of the... like, I don't think that I'd ever want it to be larger than... If the ray is casting to the edge of the player, for instance, then I don't see why the collision layer would need to be larger than the size of the box. The reason why it's like this is because I'm also using the kinematic body's collision layer to determine the collisions of the wall tiles, which are, the collision mask is on the edge here, so that the hallway is really in between. And that helps make the controls really tight too. Yeah, no, the ray, you can cast a ray. So on the physics thing, you're going to want to cast the ray to a specific point so that that's the point that the physics step is hitting, kind of deal. So that, like, if there's like a force field or something, or you want, like, the raycasting thing for physics would be good for if you want like a gravitational pull of a body, a planet's body, then you could have, you could recreate that kind of behavior with that. Okay. Well, that'll be what I start doing tomorrow. Working out collisions with obstacles. I'm going to push that out. I forgot to pool. Hopefully it doesn't get mad at me. And I'll pool. I got to remember to pool changes when I start. Okay. All right, Cobalt. You know what? If you're streaming tonight, don't forget to mention it in Discord. I'm trying to have notifications on Twitch as well, but I got to set up. I don't get them on my phone if my timer. I have app timers on, and so I need to disable it for Twitch. So sometimes I don't see when people go live just because of how iOS works. I really appreciate the help, man. Oh, nice. Yeah. No, it's good to talk these things out. It's just funny, I thought that it was unfeasible to do the collision masks. And now suddenly it isn't. Yeah. Now you get... Yeah. It's all, it's funny. The name of my channel is so misleading. And I probably should change it. Because it sounds like I'm like, hey, come to me. Come to me to learn this stuff. But it's really like, well, no. Like the idea is to create a party of people that want to get serious about game dev, not that I'm some authority figure when it comes to this stuff. Because I had learning in it in a yeah, but from an SEO, I am cheating a little because from a search engine, from like Twitch search, even or from Google search, people are more likely to type in learn video game development, and so I was like, well, that's how I get those people here. Um, so I think I need to like develop the stream so that I have like a chyron rolling around the bottom of the stream that tells people like what the heck this is, like what the idea of like getting people together is, and the Discord and the idea of having the website and all that stuff that I haven't done anything with. Um, yeah, I'm more of the champion of the idea than it's not a um, yeah. All right. Wow. It's like it's like a week and a half of almost going down the wrong path continuously and then finding out the the way that I'm like it should be like this. I don't think it is though, and then going down the path and then going, "Oh shoot, actually I can if I go like this." Um that was a ticket. I just didn't know that you could make not only could you make it so that it would draw beyond the bounds of the tile, but that you could do the same thing with collisions. Just because I didn't understand some of this stuff here with the snap options. All right. You have a good night. Hope things continue to be well for you. And I'll try to step if I see you streaming tonight, I won't be able to watch, but I will get my channel to hop on so you get those views. So